Hello, YouTube. This is Black Thought, where I ramble podcast style about a Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia topic. Gameplay takes a back seat. Feel free to tab out while I screw around. Although this time I'm kind of starting to edit static images with text because one, it takes less time to render, and two, I don't always have blooper footage, and my hard drive is filling up, so I need to manage my space better. Anywho. The topic today is the November JP Retro. I'm super late again. It is whole ass January 6th when I'm recording this, so yikes. Gonna be a little abridged because I don't remember everything. It's kind of ruining the point, but gotta catch up at some point. Bite the bullet, you know what it is. Before I continue, please make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment about what you think about my retrospective. Only 30% of my viewers on average are subscribed, and I will be interacting with everything, so do not hesitate to ask questions. Kicking off the retrospective, we have what changed in the month of November 2020. I don't think anything changed, quality of life wise. I know December we got the Auto Plus and some other goodies, but that didn't happen in November, so it feels bad. Yeah, jumping right into content. Everyone is getting blue armor from here on out, so I'm not going to go into the details of it because while I have a better grasp of it now, it's more min-maxing for nerds and stuff for favorites, and the resources are fairly limited, so I'm not going to go over it too much. I might just mention it in passing, but it's not going to be a huge highlight of what I talk about. Anywho, we have Act 3, Chapter 3, Part 1. Ealdnarche unfortunately got a burst over Camelot, although now we know that now there's more candidates at this moment, so maybe Camelot will get a burst, but big disappointment that Eld got the burst and not Cam, and he got an LD board rework, which is the first of its kind, which also gives precedence to maybe fix Sarah down the line, so we can hold out hope for a Sarah LD rework plus board. Well, actually an entire rework from the ground up. Give her some of the drugs that Yuna got. Anyways, the LD board rework, it made his Brave Hits AoE, I think. I don't remember too much of the details because I don't even think I used it beyond the challenge quests. Yeah, screw LD, he's still boring. The real highlight of the chapter was Noel's rework in LD. His skill 1 is AoE Brave Hits with Splash. Skill 2 is an Insta Break with Double Dump and more uses. I love it. Huge Noel fan. And his LD is Party Attack Aura with the follow-up on breaking and HP damage up plus 30 on broken targets. Meaning that his Brave Plus, when it breaks someone, it dumps HP. So it's actually efficient now. Whew. I pitied Noah LD. No regrets. Blew at his armor too. No regrets. I luck sacked Ealdnarche LD, thankfully, for the synergy challenges, but that's all he got used for, because I'm really not trying to run him in anything where I don't have to. I semi-regret not going for him on his lost chapter, because I had to spread my resources out between the banners. Well, I didn't have to pull the 2-week synergy, but I think I stick with my guns to always do that, and so I did. I'm probably going to go for his lost chapter in global, just to avoid this conundrum again. The Lufenia was annoying. It was immune to element in peril. Rip Golbez again. It was heavy magic resist, so you couldn't really imperil through it unless you did like a Bart's Fujin combo. Although this is the problem with doing this a little late. I don't remember if I think it had some sort of counter where if you used magic, it just blew you up. So yeah, don't use magic. First phase has an orb that increased by 7 when you break it, which was just screaming use Noel because all his skills except EX rebreak or, well, the LD and skill, whatever. He's a breaker. If you get the HP low enough, it goes into the second phase where it frames its turns. It can only be delayed by break. And the recast is a nuke unless you deny it action, so you want to paralyze it. So Ealdnarche, any stunner really that's kind of up to date, you can get through it. The first recast with like triple dump, I think it was, and kill you. I think if you waited once, then it would just do an attack, and if you denied it actions twice, then it would just cancel the recast altogether. So that was cool. There was also an Ealdnarche mannequin. It also couldn't be imperiled, plus magic resist. Blah. A lot of people ran Tifa to just blow it up, rightfully so, because this boss kind of sucks. I did Noel, Camelot, and Galuf for Paralyze with Cam, Galuf for auras, and dodging the dangerous attacks that these bosses did. Galuf is great. And Noel because he's new, synergy, and I wanted to use him because he was a favorite. The challenge was nothing remarkable. He used LD Ealdnarche, Noel, and Kate Sith, because he was synergy here for some reason. Strago lost chapter. Strago got 80 LD boards, and were they loaded? He gets 3 turns by default of his double cast, Brave and HP damage up, along with M-Brave up, so he's even bigger nuke with less upkeep issues. You can pretty much spam skills, although you won't feel scammed if you use him. But the real highlight of this banner, well, rerun, because Strago got the goods, don't get it wrong. But Ashe got a rework, and she is good now. I didn't think it was possible, but they fixed her, and they fixed her well. Her rework makes both of her skills splash. The real meat of it, though, is her LD, which is very spicy. It is a dual enchant, Holy and Thunder. It's an aura enchant, and she debuffs after every skill a la Ignis. She gets weak damage up, HP regen, and a special HP attack after using LD that fast forwards turns. Think Onion Knight or Ignis EX turn swap. Onion Knight LD, that is. And it charges the allies EX. So you LD, she gets her HP transformed. You press HP, your turns get transferred to right after Ashe, and your EX is readily available. So you can just spam an EX. So EX reliant characters, maybe probably like Xande or something, would probably benefit very well from this. The upcoming Roja also has great synergy with Ashe. She's stupidly good. This is a loaded rework. Got great auras, weakness damage up, healing. She and double enchant, so it's really hard to counter her unless both of her elements are absorbed, which is rare. But it can happen, but it's rare for it to happen. She's stupidly good, and she's still killing it right now as I speak in January 6th. What else? Polls. So I skipped. I had Strago from a free poll back in when he released as his event, and I didn't need. Did I have Strago from the free poll? No, I think I ticketed Realm and got him on the way. But Ashe is super good. As I said, you've probably seen her in a ton of videos at this point. Maybe I should have pulled, but I didn't feel like I missed out on too much skipping her. But yeah, she's fantastic. The Lufenia is 2 waves, annoyingly. Again, I hate these 2-wave fights. The first wave is the prototype robot that has a huge AoE Brave plus HP that back-to-back can nuke you, so you don't want to get hit by that by any means. You really want to kill them or mitigate the attack somehow. The orb on the second wave is the real boss, and it's the Kaiser reskin again. And its orb is Thunder and Holy +1, and when they take a turn, it's -2. So just doing Thunder or just doing Holy keeps the orb just okay. But if you really want to keep it up and like force them back, then you need to do both at the same time, which is what Ashe does. Some people stack Paladin Cecil and Dash, or Paladin Cecil and Cryo, or other stuff. So you can actually brute force DPS it, so people Tifa it down again with a single element. The orb is kind of tight, so be careful about that. Doubling up with Holy and Lightning is a safe strat since there's so many of those enchanters. Like we have a billion Holy and Thunder enchanters. I don't know why the game favors that element so much. But I brought Noel, Paladin Cecil, and Galuf, because off-turn damage ticks up element orb, so Galuf's counter kept me safe for the most part, and the single enchant pulled through. As for the challenge, I did Strago, Realm, and Ealdnarche. I didn't have to think about it. Alright, Iroha, Act 3, Chapter 3, Part 2. She's a weird one, Iroha. She has tons of damage and battery, but not much aura. She has battery and aura to the party, but I wouldn't call her a support, because I think it's a loaded term. But she's more of a damage dealer than someone who helps out the party. Her gimmick, however, is Brave discount. So HP attacks only, because when you HP attack, you dump your bravery. So when her LD effect is up, Brave dumps only consume 80% of your Brave. So let's say you do 100 HP damage, you'll only consume 80 Brave, which is an interesting gimmick. Her EX is big damage, it's like a quadruple dump, and it's charged 2 turns in a row. I don't know, there must be some lore reason for why they did this, but you do the EX, and then on her next turn, she does the plus version of her EX. It doesn't really functionally do anything except be charged afterwards. Pretty interesting concept for a character, and she pairs very well with Ashe because of Ashe's instant EX recharge. Let's see. Polls. I famously burned 670 tickets on Iroha, a character I have no attachment to, and I have no idea how to stop ticketing. And I don't even use her that much, even though I said I would, just because I wasn't feeling it. So yeah, never, always, know when to stop, guys. That's the That's the important part. The Lufenia, the orb needed all teammates to be at or above 15k Brave, which Aroha handled very well because of her Brave discount mechanic. Her C60, well, not even her C65, any C65 can tick this orb back up. So if you're stalling for turns a little and you have a free skill on a C65, or you need something instant and you need to hold Brave, or you can just Brave attack and get your Brave back up. But batteries and Brave refund are tremendously good here. The boss with these whales that do these massive Brave gains after their turn, and if you don't break them after a couple turns, they start doing red, and they actually do HP attacks. But when they don't have this aura around them, they're harmless. So keep them broken, and you will be fine. It is inherently melee resist. Ugh. What else? They frame their turns and put up warrior light shields, just Brave shields, just pretty obnoxious to break because Aroha doesn't hit. Well, no, her EX does hit that hard, so she can break it because she's in synergy. Without Aroha, you need to get creative and or brute force. It's melee resist. You need an enchant, like I said. I ran it with Aroha, Tifa, and Guy because Guy's Brave refund. No, he's not a Brave refunder. He is a post-turn M-Brave based regen. And although it gets kind of reduced heavily in Lufenia because of Brave gain reduction, stacked along with Aroha, he was able to enchant Tifa, and I was able to blow through this fight. As for the challenge, I didn't think about it, but I brought Aroha, Papa, Limo, and Saz and destroyed it. If I could have just brought Strago, Saz, and Papa Limo probably, and destroyed it as well, but you know, it is what it is. Now we have the 6-man co-op along with Layle's LD and Burst. That's right, Layle got his LD and Burst plus a rework. The rework made skill 1 battery the party, including Layle beforehand, and it does Brave attacks and it splashes. His skill 2 is even easier to launch, I think, and I think it hits weakness damage when Force is up. I think everything hits weakness damage with Force up now. No, it's just increased damage towards targets with Force up. His LD moves Layle's turn behind an ally, and then he does a double AoE HP attack that launches. And the effect now is that, 1, he gets some party refund after doing launches, a la Kais, I think that's it. And whenever he initiates a launch, the entire party will join the sequence, even if they're not in the right turn order, which means Layle is now, he resumes his throne as the best launcher, because especially if he's paired with Kais, every launch he does will be two people in there, which is incredible for him, just incredible. He gets some nice stats up too, and his LD also frames Force, which is sick. What else? Oh yeah, Force is a starting debuff as well, so that fixes pretty much any issue he had. Kais, Celes, and Kryl get the blue armor. I'm not going into the details about that, but their LDs reran here. Pulls, I went for Layle LD because I wanted this 2-week synergy again. Also, I need to talk about the 6-man co-op. It was a bit of a mess. Where do I start? Well, for one, I have a pretty funny video I did with my buddies running that co-op, but it was a garbage farm. There was RNG chance of Gilgamesh showing up, and there was a separate coin, or token I should say, tied to whether you ran into Gilgamesh or not, and this was affected by books. So it was RNG to get these items, and I forget what was tied to it, but I think it was the Lufenia armor and some other goodies that were tied to it, which was very obnoxious because it was an RNG farm. And the odds of running into Gilgamesh increased the more you had, depending on what you brought to the party. So synergy weapons increase the odds. So synergy EX added to it, synergy LD added to it. And if there's a synergy burst in the co-op, then it ramped up the percentage of Gilgamesh by like 500%. So they heavily encourage pulling a burst to farm it, which is super obnoxious. You can do it without it. You can find people you can find friends who have the burst and farm co-ops with them. And that's why I ended up having to do, because it was very annoying to farm this. Also, the co-op was unbearable because it was 7 waves, and there were at least 3 chances of Gilgamesh showing up. And even if you stack the odds by bringing the burst or multiple bursts in the co-op, it was very possible to not get a Gilgamesh the entire run. And you had to gamble with 3x books, so you could do as little runs as possible while also praying that you ran into Gilgamesh multiple times. What a mess of a co-op, and especially the icing on the cake was that it was were launch characters. So there was Kais and Layle at the forefront of this co-op, and so many launches just kills the co-op momentum because you have to keep pressing buttons. You can't blow up one wave in one shot. The Cloud LD and Burst co-op is going on in global right now, and people are launching like crazy, and I cancel all their launches because I don't want to sit through the animation. And this one was just, it was just horrible to play through. Man, yeah, they have said that they're gonna tweak it. They got a lot of negative feedback on this event, so I wouldn't expect it to be this bad in global. But man, this event was a complete mess, and the 6-man gimmick was really just, it was basically a call, someone to hold a second call and to switch into debuff. It wasn't really that. It sounded cooler than it actually was. Just not. They need to go back to the drawing board with this one. The Lufenia was actually bugged on release. It was these shark guys, and they went into a mode where if you didn't do a big launch against them when they turn red, then your HP and brave damage is reduced like crazy. And on release, this just didn't work, so people blew through them like fast. So this one was actually pretty synergy biased towards Layle. You need launches pretty bad, and these guys also have some weird turn manipulation gimmick. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it was actually a pretty nasty fight if you forego it. Layle, per usual, but everyone likes to bring their new toys, and so these things fly under the radar. It is what it is. Synergy bias still continues. What else? The challenge quest. Was there a challenge quest? I don't think there was a challenge quest, just because I think the burst token was in the 6-man co-op shop. But yeah, this event was largely a failure. I don't know anyone who liked it. There was a chaos co-op to grind as well for. Oh, I forgot to mention that Mog Pass doubled the amount of raid. There's farming points. It wasn't technically a raid, but you could get points from running the co-op, and Mog Pass doubled it. Didn't affect the Gilgamesh tokens, but it did affect the amount of points you got. And there were threshold-based points, so if you have Mog Pass, it made an easier farm again. So this was even worse if you don't have Mog Pass and you don't have a burst. Just an all-around failure. They said they're going to tweak it, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. We'll see what happens when they rerun it again, but right now this event was a massive failure. Whew. All right. Next we have Kurasame's Lost Chapter. Kurasame got an 80 LD boards, and Cypher got an LD. Kurasame got a party ice enchant on his LD boards, which was a nice surprise. He got weakness damage up for the party as well. That's some good stuff. Cypher LD turns him into a delayer. He gets a new debuff, and when it's active and he has a buff on himself active, he can, any move he does delays the target one turn. It was bugged on release, and it has been fixed since then. But splash damage, when he do splash damage, I don't know why it has a weird interaction where he'd actually delay the target that was being splash damaged by 2 turns. You can see it in some of my older videos, and it was a pain to make. Well, it was a benefit, obviously, because that's a free turn delay, but it was a bit awkward. I'd expect this to not happen in global on release because it was just a weird bug. What else? Cypher, I pulled Cypher because I think he's cool. He's Dio Brando. He looked like a useful character. The Lufenia was a delay orb, so a lot of people just didn't let this guy get turns. Layle, Synergy, he delays on skill 2. Cypher delays on everything. And Kurasame enchants and slows them down, so very possible for it to do 0 boss turns. I think I did Onion Knight, Garland, and Cypher. And Cypher has that damage up based on debuff, so I just threw a bunch of debuffs at them. And oh my god, I forgot the biggest thing of this month. The debuff cap got upped. That's right, that's huge. We can have 8 debuffs now. It was this month that this started. So anyways, let me go back to that. I threw 8 debuffs on him and just delayed him forever. Onion Knight manipulator turns. Onion Knight Garland is still a fun combo because you can double tap some AoE delays with Garland with a free skill. Love seeing it. This wasn't, if you deal with the mechanics head on, then this fight was probably nasty, but if you just don't let it have a turn, synergy, easy game, blah blah. Delay teams are very boring. I don't like doing it, but when the orb is literally delay, it's just kind of what you got to do. The challenge I just ran, Layle, Cypher, Kurasame handled it pretty well. Who was the third synergy on it? It was a Cypher, Kurasame, Edgar. Yeah, I guess you could probably carry a 0 to 3 Edgar or something again if you really wanted to. But or just a 3 out of 3 cipher, but it wasn't that challenging. I don't remember too many of the gimmicks otherwise for this fight because I didn't see it have a turn. That's the unfortunate thing. When they encourage delay and they encourage cheese, people will do it and call it easy. Speaking bad things into existence, man. Don't like to do it. All right, next we have Transcendence 3. There's a bit of a interim in this where there was a triple burst banner. Sephiroth got his rework. Skill 1 is 100% AoE on the first dump and single target on the second dump. Warrior Light got his LD boards. I should finish off Sephiroth first. Sephiroth's LD frames his Geostigma debuff. I forget what it's called. And it applies on buff start. So when he's called in, now he applies the debuff, which is very nifty. What else? He got stolen Brave up, which is a weird thing. Golbez got it too, but to summarize again, it was that he gets more Brave than he actually damage does. So let's say he does 100 Brave damage, he's going to get 120 Brave. So what he does in his hits is deceptive because he's actually getting a lot more than he's actually doing in Brave damage. What else? Warrior Light got his LD boards. He got a personal HP damage up plus 30, I believe, and party HP damage up plus 20. So he pretty much does max damage on all of his hits, and he does party HP damage up. He gets basically his burst effect on his LD, where the party gets Brave regen based on shield value. He got Brave damage resist for the party, so his shields don't get melted as fast. And LD attack becomes 100% AoE. I think that was the big ones. And this call is really good for that purpose too, just throwing up pocket shields. Let's see. And then Paladin Cecil got his high armor plus unity for the party, I believe. I don't know the distribution, but I don't care. It's only for min-maxers. And then lastly, for Transcendence 3, Porum got her LD. And wow, Porum is broken. I don't know the exact details because, spoiler alert, I skipped her. But I think she doesn't have any Brave or HP damage up for the party, but she got a follow-up after all of her skills. And any button she does follows up with this Brave gain into Gravity Shave, and just leaves the entire party capped on Brave. So Porum is an even bigger battery machine now, and she's nuts. She's still crushing it to this day. She's an amazing character. She got HP regen, party last stand, on top of a bunch of other goodies. Wow, they really did her justice because she's just a battery monster. Going briefly into Transcendence 3, the left node required launch. It was the Gao dinosaurs. So you bring Layle and another. If you have Layle's burst, then you win that left side. You can bring whoever else. Otherwise, you just bring another burst alongside Layle and figure it out from there. On the right, you needed some form of damage mitigation. Warrior Light and Porum are the people to go to here. Even though a Warrior Light call, you just need to make sure these guys get turns. You don't want to delay them too much. I think it was the Charlotta Dragons. No, it wasn't. It was the Aerith Kaiser Behemoths. That's right. But you let them get some turns, mitigate some damage, whether it be, I think it was it HP damage mitigation or some sort of mitigation. Porum, Hope, I think, and Gabranth probably, although he's probably in Transcendence 1. There were a lot of options for this side, is what I'm trying to say. And the final middle top, I don't know what to call it, or the first wave was nothing, but you need a launch in the middle to actually do some more damage. So you could just bring a launch call and take care of that, like Layle's call, for example. And the final part, which was a Medusa reskin, was an orb that required HP regen. So the first wave, the bosses ignore, what's it called? They ignored something. I think they ignored HP. No, they ignored Brave damage reduction. Okay, yeah, now we're thinking. They ignored Brave damage reduction. So they went right through Warrior Light shields, so they could break you, I guess, but then they wouldn't. But since they went through the shield wouldn't get depleted, so he'd HP damage reduce everything. So if you brought Warrior Light to that first part, you were basically invincible. Porum trivialized it as well. And if you brought an HP regen for the second wave in the form of some like bootleg Porum Sea Spear. That's what I did. I put a 1% HP regen sphere on Bart's, and that counted as the HP regen for the party for the orb. So I was able to just blow past it, and I ran Bart's, Warrior Light, and wow, why am I blanking here? Did I run Layle as a third? I might have, but I don't remember the fight, probably because this is probably the easiest Transcendence to date. I don't know what they were thinking. And Warrior Light and Bart's both had burst, but yeah, trivialized it. Not nearly as challenging as the first Transcendence or the second one. In the challenge for that event, I ran Sephiroth, Warrior Light, and Paladin Cecil. Cool. All right. Closing thoughts, conclusion. Again, I didn't go too much into depth because I didn't want to drag this one too out because it was going to. I was writing too many notes and not just giving the overview. Let's see. Polls wise, Pity Null, ticketed at Ealdnarche, skipped the Strago and Ash banner, but I already had Strago. I got a Rod by Aroha, pulled Layle, pulled Cypher, and skipped Porum. Takeaways for this month: they are super laying off Elemental Shutdown and other nonsense this month. They really took their foot off the gas. I'm not complaining. I'm fine with it. The real winners of this month are Porum, definitely. Warrior Light, he's crazy good again. Ash is crazy enchanter, and Layle, he got brought up to speed. And launch teams, he is the king. Losers, Ealdnarche still kind of sleeps. Not much good to say about him. Aroha's all right, but it feels, from what I've heard from other people, this might be hyperbole, but it feels like a lot of people need Ash to go along with her, and I have a hard time justifying her being in the party as of late. Cypher is good, but since they fixed him, he doesn't feel as fun to play because the delays aren't as good. And yeah, not really super impactful. High armor pluses again. Seems more min-maxing thing. Do it for your favorites, so whatever. Anything else? I don't think so. I need to finish this one up. Anyways, all right. So I'm done. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, drop a comment about what you think about this month. Sorry this one's late. I need to record December too. I need to get ahead of that. And then I'll be back on track. Again, I'll be interacting with everything, so don't hesitate to ask questions. Thank you all for waiting for this one. A little rushed, but it'll be fun to come back to this when it rolls around in global again. Yeah, I'm done. Bye.